Welcome to Tapped In. My name is David Figueroa-Martinez of DFM Coaching, and today we're going to be discussing a positional breakdown, but in a more, conceptual way, escaping in timing or escaping in transition. When we discuss escapes, we sometimes, especially early on, will discuss escapes in a very solidified manner. Someone has you in side control, someone has you in mount, someone has your back. These are solidified in that they have all the controls necessary to say that they have the position. Worst case scenario, if you will. These are great ways to build up how to escape because, again, it's the worst case scenario. It is hard to get out of these positions because they have all the needed controls in order to hold you in place. If they don't want to let go, it's really hard to escape. Now, once you start to get a little bit of experience under your belt, you start to look at positions instead of solidified units more as degrees, varying depending on where they are in relation to me and in relation to where we both are in any given round. When I'm playing jiu-jitsu, I'm looking at a conversation in a way that it's impolite, I think is the best way I can put it. I want to have a very impolite conversation with you when it comes to anything that we're doing on the mats. And what I mean by that is, typically, early on, we look at it as someone speaks, we wait, they solidify their point with a period, then I get to speak. This nuance, when we're new to the game, so someone passes our guard, we try to fight them off, but then they pass, and then they get side control, and then we try to mount and escape from that position. The statement has been made. There's a period at that. I am now trying to come out after that. So they have everything that they need. I have nothing of what I need, and now I have to make a rebuttal to your response, to your statement, if you will. That's great if things are really bad. What I want people to start understanding is I don't have to be cordial to you. I don't have to allow you to finish your statement. When you pass, I am going to get to a position where I need to start understanding that my guard retention is going out of the window. It is not going to be pretty for me if I sustain this any longer. I have to decide where I'm going to go. I have to chase these windows. Every time you do jiu-jitsu, there's a window that you can escape out of. And what I'm looking for is when a person goes from knee cut to side, there's a window there where they have not solidified the side control and they're giving up a little bit of control from the knee cut position. When someone decides that they want to go from side control to mount, there's a moment where they give me a window that they are relinquishing all the controls that they have with the side control and creating space of some kind, whether intentional or unintentional, that will lead them to mount that I will then have to use as my escape. When someone decides that they want to go from mount to chase an armbar, if their controls are not supreme, there is a window, sometimes larger than others, that I can use to escape. Every transition that we use, we're giving up some kind of control if you're the top player. So when I move from side to mount, no matter how technical I am, I'm giving up a little bit of control. When I am approaching the mount, there's a window for that escape that I have to be very wary of. Some people can bridge and off balance you and then you end up on your back. Some people use the fact that you're going to mount to secure half guard. So all of these moments, whether I'm passing, whether I'm transitioning, whether I'm going from one position to another, even I'm going from the position to now I'm going to a submission, there's a window there too. Just like I mentioned from mount, we see that window when someone's on our back and they have a seatbelt and that control is really solid. But in order to give up a little bit of the control from seatbelt, in order to get the collars, there's an opening there. I have to be adept enough to identify that the opening is going to happen and then controlling the hands or controlling the body part that is going to allow them to transition to the next step and using it against them. It is sometimes these windows are really small. Sometimes these windows are giant windows for you to just jump out of and create and mount a guard or mount a sweep or a reversal. So understanding that they're going to come and they're going to come in varying degrees and sizes depending on who you're rolling with. When I roll against someone who's a black belt, those windows are really small. And I have to be really in tune with their body to know when it's coming and then take advantage of that 1 or 2 second window that I got. When I'm rolling with a white belt or a new blue belt, those windows are going to be really, really big. They're going to be very apparent for me. And oftentimes very apparent before they even present themselves because they're giving away tells or they take too long from the initiation stage to the actually point where they implement. So it changes, but the window is always there. Sometimes I'm going for I'm in mount and I'm getting that S mount armbar, and I'll go with someone who maybe isn't a black belt, maybe they're a purple belt, blue belt, but they understand this process because I've been doing it for so long and they've experienced it. They know where that little window is, and then they hide the elbow or they turn just enough where now I can't chase the armbar, or they bridge just in a perfect way where now I have to place my hands on the mat and I have to reset or come back or I lose the position completely. Those windows are going to be the saving grace for your escapes. Don't wait till you're solidified in a position before you start chasing those windows. They're going to be present. Sometimes you're going to have to almost pre-position yourself in a way for the escape. Hypothetically, my opponent's knee cutting. The knee cut, as beautiful as a pass it is, it's the first pass I ever learned, and it's the pass that I have not perfected because I still got a long ways to go, that I have done so well over the course of my time in jiu-jitsu that it is my go-to pass. Something goes bad, all my other passes lead to knee cut if necessary. And when I get there and I'm on the bottom and someone's passing, there's almost always a little bit of a gap for an underhook. Even if I could only get my hand in between the rib cage and their arm, and that's all I get for that process, I'm fine with it. I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm pre-positioning myself to get that underhook deeper and getting my escape when I'm ready. So when they start to knee cut, they start dropping the weight, they're sliding across my thigh. I position my hand on the inside, just under the armpit. I will often preferably go palm up. So then my palm is hugging the back of their shoulder. They might get really heavy here. They might get super heavy that to the point where I can't get my arm any deeper. I'm fine with it. They get heavy if they go traditional side control escape. Both knees on the mat, head and arm, and I have that hand under the armpit. I'm as good as anyone out there. I'm going to be out. So then I start using baby bridges. My hand goes a little deeper. They try to adjust. In that adjustment, they give me another window. I go a little deeper. And then eventually I give a strong bridge to get my elbow all the way through. And at that stage, there is no holding me down anymore. They might start to get a little heavy, hip escape, get my knee in. It changes the dynamics of the position now. I'm no longer in side control. Sometimes I can bridge, come up to dogfight, which is me on both of my knees with an underhook, and they have an overhook. We're both side by side, but I'm not in side control. That was me pre-positioning my escape, understanding where they were going to go and where I didn't want to go. So I set up some pre-escape methods to help me get out of the position. Another one that I like is when I have my opponent they're in top side control. They had head and arm control, and I noticed that they want to go to mount. They are on my right side. They put whether they step over or they get really slick and they put their right knee on my abdomen, they'll want to slide that knee all the way to the other side of my hip, to the mat, and then drop their foot flat onto the mat and end up in mount. What I'll end up doing is I understand that knee is going to come across my belly. I turn my hips to face outward towards the side that the knee is going to go to. And then I bring that knee, my left knee, as high to my elbow as I can. So they have my upper body flat against the mat. They are on my right side. I turn my hips to the left because I know they have to go that way if they want to go to mount. And I connect my elbow and knee together. What this does is it's either going to dissuade them from going to mount, or they are unaware of what's going to go on and they're going to slide their knee across my belly. When that knee comes to connection to the other side of me, where my knee and elbow are connected, the knee drops, but once the foot drops, it drops over my thigh. So now my free leg will wrap up for quarter mount. I'll start pushing that knee through, and then we end up in half guard. Once we end up in half guard, because my arm is so close, I dig for an underhook. So I pre-positioned my escape based on what I knew they would do next. If you need anything like video on this, please let me know and I can drop you something. If I can find it, I'll drop it in the show notes. This helps me understand the positions that I'm in, the positions that can come next, and then how to pre-attack the thing that I want to do best. And this has eased my entire escape game tremendously. There is no position that I'm in that I don't have some kind of a fallback positioning area where I can, okay, I'm going to go to this because I know they're going to go here next. So it frees up a lot of energy. I don't have to fight out of a completely bad position. I just start setting up little diversions or little traps for the next step in the evolutionary process of where they want to go for me to escape. Another one I like, and it's more centered around a window, is if you're in side control and you understand where they're going, or let's say you're in side control and they decide that they want to go Americana. Very common, white belts learn this early on. They might start touching that arm, and I'll bring the arm that I have along the hip, I'll bring it up to their armpit. And then once they start to commit to that arm, I push them across my body. I hip escape, and now we're seated, or maybe we're in half, maybe we're in butterfly. But because I understand that they want this arm, they have to kind of commit to it. And in committing to that arm, they're giving up the head and arm control. And because they gave up head and arm control, they're a little wider in the body. Now I can start to maybe push myself. So there's an understanding of every time they give up complete control, there's a window. And if I could understand the window, I can pre-position myself to take advantage of the window even more. Let's see. The other thing, one last thing. I find that students don't typically move their hips enough. Kind of like I explained countering the transition to mount, how I changed my hip. Oftentimes students, especially new, they'll bridge when they're in side control or mount, but they don't necessarily turn their hips enough. So when I bridge and I try to frame from side, my hips sometimes aren't in connection to the route that I want to go. So then my legs have to take more of an angle to create space between me and my opponent. What I like to do is, if I'm inside, I put both feet together, sort of. I take them off the mat if my opponent's on my right side, and I plant my feet off to the left. So they're no longer in line with my body. That allows me to create more space when I hip escape between my opponent and my hips. And then it allows me to drive my inside knee across much easier. So when I bridge, after moving my feet, I hip escape. Now my belt knot is facing their belt knot. It's easier for my hips or my legs and knee to now get into position. I don't have to twist as much. I don't have to move as much. I've created the space preemptively so that now when I escape, my knees come in. And then once my knees are in, yes, they might fight to get the knee out of the way or to clear the knee. But that fight now becomes a different position in side control. I can now create space by going away. I can create space by shoving them away with my knee or my hands. I can dig for underhooks. I can go to butterfly. I can go to half. I can go to any guard from the knees and create the space in the guard play that I actually want, I need. While I'm at it, when we bridge, don't extend your arms. Use the structure of your arms, your forearm or the forearm part that connects to the elbow, like that lower forearm, along with the rest of your arm to create a structure. I typically plant my head side elbow and forearm closest to the elbow, right around the neck. I don't extend my arms. Every time we extend, we're exerting and we're using energy and muscle. I don't want to use any of that. I want to use the structure of my body to create the space that I need. So don't extend anymore. Extension, I would say last ditch effort. And I know we see it a lot in competition and even in the rounds in the gym, but really it's a last ditch effort. If you're exhausted, you're not extending. So if you can get into the habit of using the structure of your body a bit better, you won't be as tired in getting those responses on those framing and the escapes that you really want to do. You can do them for longer periods of time and even more attempts because you're not as exhausted. So just a quick review, understand the windows that they're going to give you. They will be present everywhere. You just have to see them, spot them, and take advantage of them. Pre-position so that you can take advantage of those windows by understanding when they're going to appear and how. And then create that angle with your hips. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. My hips are never, I shouldn't say never, are rarely pointed upwards. They're almost always pointed towards my opponent, whichever side he's on. And when I'm in mount, they're typically pointed toward the side that I want to escape on. If you have any questions about these or anything else jiu-jitsu related, please hit me up. DFM.2 Instagram and Threads. I'm always available for a quick question. If you'd like to be a part of a quite positive, and embracing community, please reach out. I have DFM Coaching, BJJ, on school. It's completely free. I have videos up. I have my workshops up there. Techniques are going to be added regularly. I have 2 workshops that get added every month. I have a couple of audio series that you might benefit from. Please join. Just check in. I feel like sometimes jiu-jitsu gets really isolating, even though it's such a community. And a lot of people feel like they can't ask the questions that they need to ask, and because they don't want to seem dumb or feel judged. Really, this is a community that I don't care how quote unquote silly or dumb the question is. I want to answer everything possible. And again, it's completely free. So that's a huge benefit to you. Until next time, thank you so much.